needs. That's one of the things I'm looking at is, yeah, go Ricky Nolasco. Just do good enough so that we can get rid of you finally. Don't do good enough so that we actually want to keep you. Jeez Louise, that would be awful. That's like the same thing we got going with the T-Wolves and head coach Sam Mitchell. Like, I want you guys to do well, but don't do so good that you keep him, because that's not a good idea. But we'll get to that in just a little bit before our 45 minutes remaining here are up. As far as the non-starting pitchers go on the Twins, the relievers have been up and down. Closer with Jepsen and Perkins. Perkins just seems to be MIA, not the man and the all-star that he once was. Jepsen does not appear to at least be clicking and firing on all cylinders the way he was last year when we acquired him at the trade deadline. Hopefully one of those two can get it turned around, but honestly it doesn't really make any difference because the Twins don't find themselves in any save situations outside of game one here at the moment anyway. So, you got to be in a save situation or in a close game in the ninth inning to make a closer have any value on your team. So, don't waste your time right now worrying about the closer situation. Worry about the starting pitching and the middle relief continuing to be at least, passable. Well, yes, passable. I like that word. Okay. Focus on that and focus on these bats. I mean, here's something for you. The Minnesota Twins, as of right now, through 7 games, are on pace to shatter by like almost 300 the all-time record for strikeouts by a team in a single season. That is startling. Yesterday in their game, they're off today, Tuesday. Yesterday in their game, they struck out 7 times as a team, and that was, I want to say, their best performance of the season, only striking out 7 times. That's over 2 full innings worth of batters striking out, and that's good. That's an improvement. Oh my Lanta, what is going on? Do we need a new hitting coach? How come everybody can hit the ball down in Fort Myers in spring training, and then nobody can hit the ball now? It's frustrating. It's disappointing. But it's Twins baseball. And it is an unfortunate fact that the ownership of our beloved Minnesota Twins would much rather field a profitable team than a winning team, than a championship team. It's one of the very few things I agree with Common Man Dan Cole on here in Minnesota. But he says, and I completely agree with this word for word, that the Pohlad family, the owners of the Twins, would rather make money and have a losing team than lose a little bit of money and have a champion. And these guys are worth over $4 billion. So it's, it is what it is. We need, we need Prince and Jimmy Jam, Minnesotans who care maybe to make a bid, but it is, I don't know. We're patiently waiting for Barrios to get called up. We got that little bit of hope. Sano out in right field, my Lanta, all I heard all offseason was, it's not ideal, but, and you're going to have some misses, but no big deal, nobody cares. You're getting that 330, 350 from the plate and a bunch of homers and a bunch of RBIs. And, it's all fine. It's all fine. But we're not getting any of that production at the plate. And what is different? Well, what's different is he's learning a new freaking position on defense. That's where all of his mental focus, all of his time, all of his efforts, all of his work went into. What are we paying him to do? What are we building around him as and to do? To hit. Okay, to hit. So wouldn't it make more sense that maybe you put this guy in the DH role a little more often so that he can focus on getting that bat going? And maybe postpone this whole Sano in right field experiment. That just I think the Twins got this idea from watching the T-Wolves experiment with Zach LaVine this year and go, yeah, you know what? Let's try and make LaVine a point guard. Why not? I think that's what the Twins did with Sano this year. It's young building block. Let's move him around. Let's make him learn a new position that he's never played before in his life. And then still expect him to hit the same as he did last year. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, that'll work. Oh. And it's gotten so bad that people here in Minnesota are already ready to give up on Sano, which I am not, for the record. Like, this guy just a couple weeks ago was our soon-to-be perennial all-star, crushing dingers and getting just all kinds of hits every year. And I'm not giving up on that now. Like, we're 2 weeks into the season. Are you kidding me? Pitching's supposed to be ahead of hitting, far as I've always been told, at least. Screw you, Ben Lieber, you moron. Baseball mind, let alone when it comes to football. But he was trying to make the argument the other day that, this time of year the hitting is always really good, and, pitchers should be struggling. It's like, no, pitching's always ahead of hitting. But whatever. Okay, Ben. Yeah, you sure know your stuff. But I'm gonna try and get to a main point out of all this right now for Twins fans, and then see if we can't move on, since we're a third through our very limited time show here this week anyway. But I think if you're a Twins fan and you want to know, who to be mad at, who to blame, whose fault this is, I think you've got to blame the front office that's putting this team together, that went out and said, no, we're not going to spend any money on pitching at all. We're going to trade a starting outfielder for a backup catcher. We're going to move our cornerstone to a brand new position that doesn't suit him athletically at all. We're going to sign a completely unproven power hitter from Korea to be our DH, and that's all he can do is DH. And by the way, this building block, Sano, this guy that we're moving from third to right, yeah, he's really a DH. But we want him in the field somewhere. We can't put him at first because, God forbid, we move Mauer, anywhere. But I said put Mauer at DH and put Sano on the bag at first, or vice versa. I'll just let them two flip-flop from days. I still think that's what they should do. But for right now, I do not understand why Trevor Plouffe can't go into right and we put Sano back at third base where he feels more comfortable defensively, and just none of it makes any sense. So if you want to blame somebody, don't necessarily blame Molitor for the way he's putting these pieces, out on the field. He's being given this stuff to work with and being told how they'd like it to work with this stuff from the people writing out his checks. So if Minnesota Twins fans, if you need someone to be mad at in the organization, which I'm pretty sure you do, blame the Pohlads, blame the front office, blame the general manager, blame who put this team on paper together, having absolutely no realistic understanding of this team's strengths and weaknesses. But alas, the Twins will be back in action here tonight as you're listening on Wednesday the 13th, hosting the Chicago White Sox at Target Field. They will take them on again Thursday, and that is a noon 10 start on that Thursday game. And then Friday they start a 3-game series against the Angels. And then it would be Monday, we start a 4-game series against the Brewers, 2 here at home, and then 2 in Milwaukee. And then we'll be talking baseball again. We're already in interleague play. And then after the Brewers, we have a 3-game road stint against the Nationals, it looks like. So that's the Twins' upcoming schedule. And if we take a real quick look at the baseball standings, your top story here is, in the American League at least, it is the undefeated Baltimore Orioles, who started out 3-0 against the Twins. That obviously helped. But they are 7-0 on top of the American League East. The Blue Jays in last at 3-5, but don't worry, they'll get that turned around. Yankees at 4-2, also with a winning record. In the Central, with the Twins at 0-7. Just above them is the Indians at 2-3. Everyone else has a winning record. Tigers 4-2, Royals 5-2, White Sox 5-2. Then in the American League West, everyone is 500 or worse. And then if we move over to the National League, we've got the Nationals in first place in the East at 5-1. Everybody else there is 500 or worse. Braves are winless, just like the Twins at 0-7. Cubbies, popular World Series favorite, they are off to a great start at 6-1. They're followed by a surprisingly hot Cincinnati Reds team, off to a 5-2 start. Pirates 5-3, Cardinals 4-3, and the Brewers 3-4. Then we go out west. We've got my World Series National League representative pick, the Giants, off to a 6-2 start, followed by everyone else who is 500 or worse. All right, so there you go. Balls on Fire is officially put out. All right, well, I think for our next topic, I got to turn my attention to the world of professional golf, and we got to discuss just a little bit of what happened at this past week's Masters tournament at Augusta. It was the 80th playing of the Masters tournament, and it started out on Thursday with last year's champion, wire-to-wire winner, Jordan Spieth, in the lead. Friday, he was still in the lead. Saturday, he was paired with Rory McIlroy. Oh, golf fans drooling all over the place. Spieth kept cruising. McIlroy couldn't keep up. So we get to Sunday. We don't have Rory in the final pairing, but that's okay. We get to Sunday. Spieth, the final pairing, he's on top of the freaking world. He's got 9 holes to go, like a 5-6 stroke lead over second place, somewhere in there. And then all hell breaks loose. They call it Amen Corner. It's holes 10, 11, and 12. That first turn on the back 9 at Augusta. And I think they call it that because it makes people pray or just take the Lord's name in vain, or both. But Jordan Spieth did not have a good time there this week. That's where it all fell apart for him, and he just, it was like I said, it was a wheels on the bus. They all came off. It was horrible. Like, his caddy was going, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm seriously, after a shot, I heard his caddy go, "Will you stop it?" Like, it was ridiculous. But so he bogeys 10, bogeys 11. No big deal. Still got like 2, 3, 4-stroke lead somewhere in there like that. Puts 2 balls in the water on number 12. It's just a creek. Like, it's not even a lake, you know? It's a creek. Puts 2 balls in the water. Ends up with a quadruple bogey. And just, that was it. Like, he couldn't hit nothing for those last, 6 holes. And just, he ended up tied for second, though, with Lee Westwood, actually. And your winner was a guy by the name of Danny Willett, who, that's exactly what he had to do to the ball. He had to will it into the hole all week. He actually had a phenomenal Sunday round. I want to say it was a bogey-free 67, which bogey-free was what Spieth shot on the opening day. Speaking of the opening day, one thing I forgot, Ernie Els, who didn't make the cut on hole 1, the first hole of the Masters, on the first day of the Masters, it was either a 6-putt or a 7-putt. That's not, I'm not saying he got like, a 6 for a score or a 7 for a score. No, like, he hit the ball off the tee, and then he hit his next shot onto the green, probably. Or maybe he missed the green and hit his third one on the green. I'm not sure. But then once he was on the green, he proceeded to putt the ball 6 or 7 times. I don't remember which one it was. And all of them, even the first one I want to say wasn't that far. I know, but all of them after the first one were inside 10 feet, probably most of them inside 6 feet. One of them, he tried to, it was like, half a foot away, and so he went to hit it with the back of his putter, and he missed that one. Like, it was just, oh man, it was unbelievable. Check that out if you want a good YouTube watch. Make yourself feel better next time you're struggling as a golfer. Definitely check that out.